Welcome, Wezolo, Aquaba, on arrive. Welcome, Wezolo, Aquaba, on arrive.
Bamborapa,
Zimbera mama zimbe, 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 zimbera mama zimbe.
now we welcome you in the name of the Lord into the midst of the people of God. We love you with all our hearts. Your coming shall not be in vain. Now we welcome you in the name of the Lord into the midst of the people of God. We love you with all our hearts. Your coming shall not be in vain. Now may
Welcome, Wezolo, Aquaba, bon arrive. Welcome, Wezolo, Aquaba, bon arrive.
Africa, and we are born in Jamaica. But every day, some people are talk like they are born in Africa.
And you are the ones who are actually trying to get us to do what you want for you. That's not what this is about. This is a personal journey, and we encourage you to take every question, every suggestion that we are doing through this program and throughout this program as a personal journey. Yeah? It's a personal journey. So you don't get caught up in the they say, they said, we said, da da da, whatever. Let's get you out the way first. Let empower you, okay, so that you can shine above all of that. Okay, right. So without further ado, let's start. Okay, so let's go. Be back. We'll be back in a moment, right after this one.
I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations. Neither are you here to live up to mine. Yeah. I don't owe no one no obligation. No one owes me none, so everything is fine. Fine. I said I am that I am. I am. I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. On the my authority. It's time to recognize my quality. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. I said I am that I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. Learn to love your brother. Don't covet your neighbor. Flee from the city, it's getting shitty. It is full of autocrity. I said I am that I am. I am. I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am. I am a crocodile, you cannot move my at all. I am the son of lightning, you cannot move my at all. I am gonna take off, you cannot move at all. I am the son of Moses, you can't move my at all. I am the son of David, you cannot move my at all. I am the first light thunder, you cannot move my at all. To the shepherd, you cannot move my at all. You cannot move my at all. You go that right morning, you cannot move my at all. You try to make us something that can move that and could have come with his hands. You can move back. And if it's convinced his hands, I can move. Why is it that we have an artist such as Peter Tosh, right? And it means so much to the few of us, the few of us who really take on the talent of what life has been to offer, right? And remember, there's been we have so much artists, so much artists out there right now, and they're producing some fantastic works, bringing the message of what is happening in the world. World movement, world movement, right here, right now, is what is being called for, and in all honesty, I'm telling you, from the little, how would I put it, to coin the quotation, I said, out of the mouth of babes. Out of the mouth of babes, you shall get your understanding. Hmm? Watch this now. Watch this now. Because remember, as a person, as you're going through time, and I would like you to call in and confirm this for me too. As you move through your time, you have your elders. You have your elders. The ones who are mature around you and around you. And then all of a sudden, you come up to that middle, and if you give it that middle age type of thing, that middle age, I wouldn't even say it's a middle age. It's more, a process of maturing. Right? So you get to 40, 50, and everything. And, you know, if you acknowledge me, which I did, I didn't personally, but come be be free to be. It doesn't allow you to be free to. How can we start offending anybody? It doesn't allow you to be free to literally enjoy your life, your time. Remember, some of us have to really, really, really work hard for yourself. Yes, enjoy yourself. I literally do mean. I do mean to feel good, and it's easy to say, if it makes me feel a little bit. I was there. I'm at home. I'm at home, and I've got 101, 101 plus one things to do. But I have one thing to do, and then just to balance myself, get my head together, you know, repent up in myself. You know, when you just tell somebody something, so you just what I did, got my gym bag. I went off him. Right. So I said, boy, I don't even feel like I don't even feel I'm going to work. I'm going to do some work, you know. So I got onto the rowing machine there. So see this hit it down. It's on the rowing machine. First 10 minutes, just getting into the pace and now, you know, I got to a comfortable space. Right? On the rowing machine next to me now, this young boy come, say young boy. He look about say 19, 20 at the most, right? And then he's there and he's getting on the machine. And you can tell that, you know, well, I say it's a straightforward exercise machine, right? But there are certain techniques to it that makes it easier and more proficient. Okay. So I'm rowing and him start rowing. So he's there and I can see that he's not using his legs and his arms at the same time in the right space. So obviously what he's doing is putting extra strain on his back, on his arms, his shoulder, right? And yet his legs are just going back and forth like they're just flapping in the air, right? But he's getting there, he's getting there. And of course, after about 10 minutes now, he's exhausted, right? So I said to him, boy, you're using the wrong technique on there. You know? Says, I haven't done this for a while now, you know. I says, I haven't been in the gym for at least 5 years. And 5 years. Oh, so you look a lot younger, but you, yeah. Right. I said 27. I went, good, because that's good. And he said, yeah, I'm just trying to get back to get a little bit more fit, you know, I need it. I goes, oh, that's good. I goes, well, just take your time and techniques, right? And he said, easy, simply. You know, you're young, right? You know, this is the like him said, yeah, I could do this back in the day. You almost get me stuck. Size. I said, I'm hey, how come you have years on your time to talk about back in, back in the day? He's telling me about back in the day, right? And this is the thing. This is just the thing. Is that in years long, only as long as much have lived. No, of course, you're a child now. If you go like age of 10, right? That is like forever. Like you tell them it's next year. You know, and they're living at that pace, they never grow out of it. They just never let me slow. Let me have that quality time for myself or quality space. The only only time that they actually, right, the quality aspect for yourself is when it's a crisis. They probably are, right? Um, and various like. But the thing is that what about those who are healthy? We need that space as well. I was reminded the other day. I was reminded the other day of uh, getting an analysis instead of doing a self-analysis, getting an analysis from a what do you call them now? Therapist. That's it. Therapist. All right. Now, surely, us as the Galaxy family, we should be doing this on a regular basis, shouldn't we? We should have our own therapy, but not in the sense of, oh, something is wrong. Oh, that we should have a regular analysis of ourselves. Surely, right? The well being. How many of us actually go to somewhere, right? Or have you gone to somewhere, right? Food, food and drink, music is playing, right? The MC is doing their part of, like, really providing a great atmosphere, and then you just look around and you think, I don't know, I don't feel that I fit in. You know what? This is not for me right now. This is not for me. I think I'll go home early. Huh? I think I'll go home early. You know. And if you're with somebody else at that place there, you know, as men as we do, we may stay a little bit longer than what we intentionally want to stay, right? And vice versa as well. You know, some of our sisters, they will stay a little bit longer than what they want to stay. But in doing that, what was your state of mind before you entered into that place? Right? What was your intentions of when you actually got there? Was you going there with intentions of really enjoying yourself, right? Listening to the entertainment, right? Engaging with others, you know? And even if you were there, how many new people did you get to learn? Get to learn. Get to introduce yourself to? Huh? How many new people did you introduce yourself to them? You know? All this, these are the things that we need to nurture, right? We need to nurture that. Do you feel uncomfortable going into a new space, which is a natural thing, but if you are prepared to actually be there, make your presence known, right, of who you are, what you are, and be confident in your message of what you are giving out, not only in verbally, right, but living into it. I attended I attended the House of Commons last strong, right? And in my attendance of the House of Commons last strong, we was talking about the issue, what they're facing in Sudan, right? We was talking about that with one of the ministers. and obviously utilizing the services of what they are supposedly to be there. That led to two meetings this strong, right? That we were able to discuss the issues or some of the issues that we saw as a little, group of us that is being faced in Sudan. How far we're gonna move this, you find out in the near future. You shall find out in the near future. We are also you shall also find out as well if we're going to make any difference as well. Right? I shall be back in a moment. We're gonna step on board and be free. It's coming sure, it's coming fast. We're gonna step on board and be free. Telling you this can never be down. No matter how hard reality seems, just hold on to your dream. Yeah. If things around you trouble, no, you don't have to stumble far. Keep pushing on and show you the something strong. Oh, Lord, you'll be inspired to retire. Okay. Right. We're back. We're back. We're back. Hold on. Let me just pause that a second. That's it. Pause. And we'll play you in a little while. Okay? All right. All right. Yes. So, where was I now? Oh, yes, 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 yes. So, when we literally, literally separate ourselves and that time, that quality time, that space, we have to utilize it to the maximum. We have to show up like we are the kings and queens that we are. You know, the way how it seems like, that person that turns heads. You know, the one that turns heads? Yeah. The one that literally, oh my word, they got something, but they just got a little bit more than there's something, you know? And all it is that when you're confident enough, and when you just know enough, you are starting to be enough. You are enough. I went to the House of Commons, as I was saying. I went to the House of Commons. And we were talking about the situation that's happening in Sudan. And it just happened to be the same day, the 30th, that they were calling for a global reaction, demonstration of support for the uprising that is happening in Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Toure. Because obviously, you know, there are those who, and I'm not pointing any fingers and I'm not stating that I know who and whatever, I don't know directly, but there has been the various attempts on his life and to actually depose him as well in that way there. So, they're saying, look, we want this person to be in charge of us. We want him. So please stay out of our business. Right? There was a beautiful text. Sorry, a beautiful posting the other day of where a young man was saying, "We don't need your help. We don't want you. So we want you to leave him alone. And if you want to help somebody, there are plenty of other places you can go and help them." There are plenty of places you can go and help them. We don't need your help, you know? And very much so, Metro, very Marcus Garvey-esque type of revolution is going on over there right now. But even in our discussion with the minister that we was talking with in the chamber within the House of Commons on that day, I sat there. I sat there and I was listening to the main person who was presenting on there, right? Who invited me along as well. And when Tariq started speaking, he was speaking and he was giving us historical evidence of what could be and what can be done. And the minister was there very quietly listening. And he was also observing everybody in the room, right? And even his listening, I was making a few notes on what Tariq was saying, coupled with the information that I know as well. Now, when entered into that room, I did not go in there with the intentions of actually making a statement. But I was asked spontaneously to make a comment about what was being spoken on. And because I had done my research, right, prior to that, I was very au fait with all the information that was required. The minister himself is a historian, is a African history historian himself. Do not underestimate, please do not underestimate what a person knows just because of the looks. And I gave my synopsis of what Tariq was saying. And I bolstered it. I bolstered it with my expectations and what I felt the community as diasporians, and I emphasize diasporian, what we would like to see. Taking into account that we're not living that life. We're not living it. But we're very, very affected by what is actually happening there. The famines, the atrocities, the homelessness, the refugees that are fleeing from most of the major cities over there, the civil action or the war that is actually occurring within that, those who are being murdered right now, even as I speak, we're very aware of that. But yet, what can we do? Because it does seem like it's a hopeless situation that we're facing from here. Now, I did request directly that the ministers should, at some stage, be involved to talk to the leaders of the war, because they're not going to listen to us, unfortunately, because we're not in that circle of negotiation. And I gave them acknowledgement to the extent of that you can do that, but we wouldn't even get an audience to even speak in that area. And I gave him that knowledge. And he acknowledged that. And he said he's gonna look what he can do. And true to his word, we had two meetings, which was this week here. And so it progresses. And as I said, you shall be hearing about this in the near future. You shall be hearing about it in the near future. But it's our preparation. And do you think that if I went there with the attitude of, boy, nobody's going to listen to me now. Oh, no, they're just going to talk. They're just going to talk. And I'm just going to sit here and listen. If I didn't go there with the anticipation of listening with intention, of creating something, do you think that I could speak? Do you think that I would be able to speak in a comprehensive way so that they would be actually moved to action? No, come on now. And this is what part of the Blacknificent program is about. Wherever, wherever we are. We want to be part of what is actually happening, but we want to be part of that play, that which is happening as ourselves, not some manufactured. Well, this is what the company requires. Do not lose yourself. Do not lose yourself in that way that you can't even speak outside of what has been shown to you or told to you. Many organizations like to do that. They like to script you. They like to hold you. Yeah? Many of us have fallen into that as well. We make quotations. We make quotations of all these great orators. But remember, those are the quotations of the thoughts and feelings of that orator. Are they yours? Are they your thoughts and your feelings? Does it come out correct all the time? No, it doesn't. But it's a thing in progress. It's only when you're speaking that you will develop and express what is necessary at the time. We must communicate this. Don't be afraid to speak up. The Blacknificent Show is here for all of you to be part of so that you can come and express yourselves. If you can come and express yourself in a way that, yes, we can help you. You could even show us something because you're going to be touching on a subject that is personal to you. That is personal to you. Allow yourself to be the more powerful person, and that leaves nothing unsaid. You want to be that person that leaves nothing unsaid. And when I say nothing unsaid, I really do mean that, look, if you were able to just run a video back of what you just said, there couldn't be that space of saying, you know something, I wish I had said this in there or that. Why? Because the purity of what you have said would be complete. It would be absolutely complete. So let's live ourselves in a more powerful, blacknificent way. Right? When I say blacknificent, right, just take it like the same as what we say family. It's all inclusive. Okay? So let's replace family with blacknificent right now. Right? So grand risings, my blacknificent people. Right now, we're coming up to the midday. We're coming into our midday meditation. Right? The midday meditation is a space that we have carved out for ourselves of where we can be our best. We do that introspective. So we take this time, if we're going through something physical, mentally, right, spiritually, even. This is a space that we isolate, right, so that we can have that deeper communication. We can also have that deeper introspective. Yes. We can have that deeper control and exploratory journey through our bodies. You know, if there's something that needs to be done, like my feet at the moment, I need to sort my feet out. Then you know what? Let's make that promise. Let's make that mental note of, you know what? Right, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna spend an hour just doing my feet, make sure that they're right, massage and everything else, and ensure that they're looking and they're feeling great. Why? Because they're my foundation as I walk and I move through the world. Yeah, things like that. I've got this ache in my shoulder. How can I ease it off? You know what? Let me just give the time to just put some mental journey in through that. Let me see how I can just mentally relax the tension that is around there. I didn't even realize there was tension around there. How deeper can I go? How deeper can I actually relax that? Actually, it's easing off the pain and the discomfort just to relax around that area and how it affects everything else that has probably been happening around the same area. You know, all these type of things is what we can achieve through our mental journey. Obviously, the spiritual journey is a connection and a personal journey, right? Through whichever medium you are using, whichever medium that you're using, that is to empower you to be that divine individual within yourself and for yourself, for you to be in perfect harmony for yourself as well. So, without further ado, let's go into our midday meditation and we start with the power of our breath as we go into this strong's meditation.
Yeah. Hey, give thanks for life. Give thanks for life. Chimney, chimney. Today my rise like the sunrise, my bright and my upright. No one can stop my vibes. Me no care who I fight, I know I criticize. I'm on the higher heights. So you can say what you want to and do what you want to. It's no concern to me. I'm on my own vision, me dip on my own mission to rule my destiny. Oh, it's my day to do what I want to. It's my time, and I'll use it any way I want to. It's my life, and I'm responsible for every action. It's all mine, my day, my time, my life. I beg you, easy enough, give me some breeze enough, and don't invade my space. I'm in a different place, moving on my way. So if you feel like a champion, then nothing can go wrong. This one is your song. Hey, shoot away your troubles, put away your worries, help me sing along. Oh, it's my day to do anything I want to. It's my time, and I'll use it any way I want to. It's my life, and I'm responsible for every action. It's all mine, my day, out there, feeling alive, feeling a vibe, and nothing can stop me. I don't care what they think or what they say about me. Look out, world, here we come, up and running. And all I'm saying is, it's my day to do what I want to. It's my time, and I'll use it any way I want to. It's my life, and I'm responsible for every action. All time, right time for life. Chimney, give thanks for life. Give thanks for life. Chimney, give thanks for life. Give thanks for my life. Sing it. Oh, oh yeah.
You're in tune to the midday meditation here on.
Feel like jumping, Lord, feel like shouting now. I feel like moving, feel like moving now. La 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 I feel like laughing, Lord, I feel like crying. I feel like sighing, and I feel like dying. La 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 la. Feel like jumping, Lord, feel like shouting out. Feel like moving, and feel like grooving. La 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 la
Equal rights and justice for all. Rights and never fall. Tell them, say, boom. What they gonna do when enough of them not true? Say what they gonna do, them get slow, yeah. Who do you think you are? We're living in a small world. As wicked as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As bad as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As tough as you think you are, we living in the one on earth. Alright, that day will come when I stand and see all those wicked men in the fire getting burned. That day will come when they will try to escape, when there will be nowhere to run. That day will come when I shall see they handing over bombs and bayonets and bullets and guns. That day will come when Emperor Selassie rise the world, they get to use them from out of this land, yeah. And the day I would love to see their face for all those people they do to the human race and try to take things out of place, run away to space, shoot them in the air. After one that judgment you have to get to take when they find out that them can't escape. That means they send them the people them trace. Smile on my face, that day will come when I just stand and see all those wicked men and the fire getting burned. That day will come when they will try to escape, when there will be nowhere to run. That day will come when I just see they handing over bombs and bayonets and bullets and guns. That day will come when Emperor Selassie shall rise the one they get to do them out of this love. Who do you think you are? We're living in a small world. As wicked as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As slick as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As tough as you think you are, we're living in the one and me I'm not tell you. Escape today, you can't escape tomorrow. Make sure you stay back anytime you borrow. Make sure you don't let no life in a sorrow. Make sure you not lead that straight like arrow. Make sure you break no push out in a barrow. Make sure you make them walk out and borrow. Yeah. Make sure your meditation and narrow. Judgment. And rock from the world I want. That day will come when I sit and they see all those wicked men in the fire getting burned. That day will come when they will try to escape, when there will be nowhere to run. That day will come when I just see they handing over bombs and bayonets and bullets and guns. That day will come when Emperor Selassie shall ride up on the wings of the heavens and the sun. Oh, yes, I will remain the same. Hailing Rastafari now and watch them going up in flame. For all the innocent going down the drain, you have to pay for the shackles and chains, and pay for this washing of the brain, and pay for these guns and cocaine, the sick and the lame. Alright, that day will come when I shall stand and see all those wicked men in the fire getting burned. That day will come when they will try to escape, when there will be nowhere to run. That day will come when I shall see they handing over guns and bayonets and bullets and guns. That day will come when blaze up the fire and one of me ready. Pick up on down, Saddam, the one that said, what a day it will be to see the powers of the triunity. Don't want no ice cream, love, that's too cold for me, little girl. I don't want no ice cream, love, girl, can't you see? I want a love that's warmer than the summer sunshine. I want a love that's as warm as mine, because my love is warmer than a chocolate fudge. Because I don't want no ice cream, love, that's too cold for me, little girl. I don't want no ice cream, love, girl, can't you see? I want a love that's warmer than the summer sunshine. I want a love that's as warm as mine, because my love is warmer than a chocolate fudge. Because my love is warmer than a chocolate fudge. And that is why I don't want no ice cream, love, it is too cold for me, girl. I don't want no ice cream, love is too cold, can't you see, little girl? I don't want no ice cream, love is too cold for me. Love in the winter should be warmer than the summer sun. But if you're giving me an ice cream, love, little girl, that's no fun. And that is why I say, because my love is warmer than a chocolate fudge. I say my love is warmer than a chocolate fudge. I don't want no ice cream, love, it's too cold for me. I don't want no ice cream, love, little girl, can't you see? No, no. I want a love that is warmer than the summer sunshine. I want a love that is warm and pure as mine. That's why I say, because my love is warmer than a chocolate fudge. I say it again, I say my love is warmer than a chocolate fudge. No, I don't want no ice cream, love, it is too cold for me. I say the love in the winter should be warmer than the summer sun. Giving me the ice cream, love, little girl, that's no fun. And that is why I say my love is warmer than a chocolate fudge. That's why I don't want no ice cream, love, it's too cold for me. Yeah. No, 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 no ice cream, la 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 la, with the cold for me. No, 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 no ice cream, love at all. No, 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 no ice cream, love, it's too cold for me. No ice cream, love, I don't want it. That's why I got to say because my do you know what it means to have a revolution? And what it takes to make a solution? Fighting against oppression, oh yeah. Battering down the pressure, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Are you ready to stand up and fight the right revolution? Are you ready to stand up and fight it just like soldiers? Many are called, few are chosen. Many are called, few are chosen. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, gotta fight the right fight in this time. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah. Are you ready to stand up and fight the right revolution? Are you ready to stand up and fight it just like soldiers? Many are called, few are chosen. Many are called, few are chosen. If you wanna live forever, you gotta love each other. Say you gotta live on forever. Yeah. And love one another.
A man is made according to his word. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Say we gotta live on forever. Love, child. We gotta live on forever. And love, one another. Oh, yeah. Loving, sharing, It's time. Nothing. You're going to get us again. You're going to get us back again. Oh, what a shame, what a big disgrace. Up on the rocking, just a shoot up the place. Uptown, Valley rocking. Them would sitting as good sensimania. Love one another and keep out the danger. Uptown, downtown, all around town, Valley rocking. So when you're gonna make me have some fun, live some life before your judgment comes. You're about to get us in. Body rocking. You're about to get us up, down, down, up, down. Oh, what a shame, what a big disgrace. A body ranking just a shoot up the place. Uptown, downtown. Show me your friend and I tell you who you are. Going by the name of a superstar. Body, you're about to get us rocking. Throwing your gun and make it some fun. Live some life before your judgment comes. Uptown, downtown, Valley them would be peanuts, smoke, sentimania. Love one another and keep out the danger. Body rocking, you're going to get us rocking. Oh, what a shame, what a stupid case. The way the rocking them a shoot up the place. Uptown, downtown, all around town, rocking. Show me a friend and I tell you who you are. You're going by the name of a superstar. Party round, you're bound to get a song. Oh, I say, party round, you're bound to get a song. Uptown, downtown, uptown, downtown. La 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 la. Yeah. The skylight, the skylight, that's what you do today. The skylight, the skylight, before they stand up firm on their feet. Yeah, I little and earn their bread honestly. Begging you are fighting, sir. Begging you are dancing, sir. In a fair, no candidate. So if you keep on doing what you are doing, you will end up in change. Oh, yeah, la. Begging you out fighting, sir. Begging you out dancing, sir. Can it fail? No, dear. So if you keep on doing what you are doing, you will end up in change. So if you keep on doing what you are doing, you will end up in change. The skylight, that's what you do today. The skylight, before they stand up firm on their feet. Skylight. Something says see that walking up the street. They say we're going wrong to all the people we meet, but we won't worry, we won't shed no tears. We found the way, you cast away the fears forever, yeah. We'll be forever, forever, yes, and forever. There'll be no end. So hold my river, don't cry for me. I've got the wrong dream of love you see. So no matter what stages, oh stages, they put us through. Never be blue. No matter what stages, oh rages, changes, rages, they put us through. We'll never be blue. We'd be forever young. We'll be forever, forever and ever. Yes, and forever. 'Cause there's no end. 'Cause only a fool lean upon, lean upon his own misunderstanding. Oh, yeah. And then what has been hidden from the wise and the prudent been revealed to the babe and the suckling. In everything, in every day, I say, we'll be forever. Just like a tree planted, planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth fruits, brings forth fruits into season. Everything in life got its purpose, find its reason in every season. Forever, yeah, we'll be forever. On and on and on and on. Forever. Yes, yes, we'll be forever.
That was our midday meditation this strong here on the galaxyofwe.net on the Blacknificent Radio Show. We move into the next segment, which will be the ancestral voices. Ancestral voices are those journeys that we take of those who are here, those who have been, and those who are to come. Right? So this strong, we're using some material, poignant material, I think, that is gonna be hold on. Sorry. Oh yes, sorry. Got it. I lost my point of introduction there. Anyhow, this is going to be very, very important. And I think that if we have not read this piece of works in its entirety, then I would suggest that you do, right? Take the next two or 3 weeks, as long as it takes to go through this piece of work here, right? And see how relevant the material is for today. And if it's not that relevant, what is? So let's bring a conversation to this as well, right? And I'm going to give you the number prior to me playing the clip from the Ancestral Voices, which is 0203 289 650 And let's hear what brother, our brother, Amos Wilson has to say on this subject. I remember this is a quote. This is a quotation or reading from his piece of works that he has put together, and it's part one blueprint for Black Power. Also, SC4. It's true.
Jolly children, yeah. Jolly children, yeah. Jolly children, yeah. Jolly children, yeah. The truth is an offense, but not a sin.
Great stuff.
Is he who laughs last? Children, is he who wins? It's a foolish dog. Bark at the flying bird. One sheep must learn, children, to respect the shepherd. Jolly children, yeah. Jolly children, yeah. Jolly children, yeah. Jolly children, yeah. Who's saying there? Rasta, your God is dead. But I know, Jaja, dread, it shall be dread, a dread. Darling, children, yeah. Jaja, live, children, Jalim, children, yeah. Jalim, children. Let your now that the heavens are scattered.
Wow. It's like we are experiencing a new awakening, not true? Huh? We're experiencing a new awakening right now.
And I feel like when I promote the highest of level, it's a no. So the burn them people concept of say that is a destruction to the humanity. So me I say,
Don't them the way.
check this. Jaja City, Jaja Town, them off it on it in a cowboy town. We look on you. Jaja City, Jaja Town, them off it on it in a dead man town. We look. Jaja City, Jaja Town, them off it on it in a cowboy town.
See? Let me show them the way.
When I promote the highest of level, it's a no. So the burn them people concept of say that is a destruction to the humanity. So me I say. Check this. Jaja City, Jaja Town, them off it on it in a cowboy town. We look on you. Jaja city, Jaja town, them off it on it in a dead man town. I wanna look and know. Mr. John Chalk up in John Brown. We no want no more than in a town. Mr. Happy got so lucky, trigger happy out. We no want no more dead body. Well, Mr. Joe kill quick. We don't want no more hit. We don't want no more grape. We don't want no more cat hit. Well, life we promote, which is righteousness. So don't get a lit. We don't look and know. That just it. That's a town. They want to turn it in a cowboy town. We don't look and know. Bloody city, bloody town. Or turn it in a rude boy town. We don't look and know. Them a tell me how them call. Big 45, we shoot out them brother mole. No pass let them cold like up at the North Pole. So them shoot down the young, shoot down the hole, shoot down the puss and the dog on the pole. Every weekend them take a next payroll. Out of man pocket them shoot out bill fall. Marcus Gavin, no feather figure roll. Look you know, Chacha City, Chacha Town, them off it on it in a cowboy town. Look you know, Chacha City, Chacha Town, them off it on it in a dead man town. Them things them reach the ultimate. Yo, but them no reach nowhere yet. Them get caught in the internet. Of society, you tell me them a intellect. Them promote too much debt. We don't look at no. Jaja city, Jaja town. Them a turn it in a bad man town. We don't look at no. Jaja city, Jaja town. Them a be turn it in a cowboy town. Want to scab this head. 10 miles out of the city. It a go get too shitty. One Mr. John and me go one Miss Smithy. One all the shot and me go one all the hitty. No more say them kill man.
Here we go, here we go. Okay, that was ancestral voices there, right? We're still into the conversation on the ancestral voices for now, and we'll incorporate that into our next segment, which is the mind soul connection, right? And welcome Sister Sandra.
Greetings, greetings. Welcome, brother Aston.
In the sunshine and everything I go on, so.
Welcome, Blacknificent family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It is a beautiful day. One to raise one's hands and just give thanks for life. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the opportunity to actually eat our daily bread, because we're not all guaranteed to have that opportunity.
Well, boy, you know what? As it is, just take the gifts of life and let's make the most of it. Right, right then, you know.
Definitely.
Anyhow, boy, I'm trying. I don't know if I'm pushing too much at the same time, but it has to. But I'm just pushing it out there anyhow, right? It's a case of that there are a lot of things that are happening right now, and a global meme or global I won't even say a change. I think it's just a reaffirming of that we're heading in the right direction. Yeah. Like what is happening in North of Africa, right? The results of what's happening and the reported results that is happening right there. I think, obviously, you know, I'm in full support of that, because we've been speaking into this type of revolution for many a year. Most of our time of when we've been on the consciousness scale, right? So we've been speaking into this for a very long time. Now it's in the process of actually coming to full fruition. How it will develop, and what it will develop to is different levels of different levels of impact around the world.
Mm.
But the thing is that we have to do our part as well.
Yes.
We have to do our part, right? By preparing our, I think most essential is to prepare our young people to be part of that evolution,
Mm-hmm.
right? In whatever level that they are. I mean, like, obviously, if you've got young children, guide them towards being part of what needs to be part of the new generation and development,
Mm.
into careers and be active in that way as well. Also, even for our part, to be supportive if we're even if we're mature in our time, it doesn't
Mm.
mean that it's going to be, oh, that's not for us, that's for the youngsters, and leave them to it. We have
Mm.
to play our part as well.
Most
Yeah,
definitely.
so, and it's very important. I feel that we all have an important role to play in this.
Mm.
Um, what it also has done, for me, right? It's, as I say, first of all, I said that it's reinforced a lot of things that what we have been speaking into, but it's also reignited that question that I always have, right?
Which is.
Which is, when we're looking at the material that we're using, we're looking at statements, quotations, scenarios of what happened over 100 years ago, in most cases,
Mm.
thousands of years ago, some of them. But who's writing the blueprint for today and for the future, right?
Mm.
And that has always been one of those questions that's always buzzing in my head, right? Because, you know, as I was sharing earlier on, my conversation with the minister, yeah, they're just information regurgitators,
Mm.
right? They're just
Mm.
in that position to just regurgitate, you know, what's happening around the world, right? And then they'll come to some kind of an agreement, one way or another,
Mm.
and then something gets shifted, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But who's actually putting the blueprint out there? Yeah, and I'm using that terminology mainly because we just used the clip from Amos Wilson, the blueprint of the Black Power.
Mm.
Right? So that's why I'm using that phrase there.
So who's putting the blueprint? Have we not already put a blueprint out there? Aren't there our thought leaders who already done that for us? I'm thinking Marcus Garvey. I'm thinking about some of the other heroes and sheroes.
Right. What they've done, what they, and as I said, stated, right, they've been using quotations for their time, what was necessary for them and
Mm.
theirs of that time,
Mm.
right? Into the future, because obviously, we only can speculate what could happen in the future, right?
Mm. Mm.
There are patterns of behavior, there are patterns of development, but we've gone way beyond what they were talking about at the
Mm.
time.
Mm.
Marcus Garvey mentioned, if I recall, you should teach your children to learn the sciences, right?
Mm. Mm.
Mathematics, engineering,
Mm.
doctors,
Mm.
things like this. Yeah, those are skills that should be um, to a penny right now, right? But
Mm.
for technological development in the future, futuristic type of technology now, right? This
Mm.
is where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be the innovators. We should be innovators. I like the part what that was they were talking about, and the theme of what the piece has showed, right, was about the independency, right,
mm,
and the strength of the movement that is happening right now is literally because they are independent,
mm,
right, and they're not looking for help, right. There's not a mass exodus of people as what's been reported, right? The
mm,
only the only thing is that yes, there is fringe war, yeah, fringe civil war, civil action, but that's between the political parties and and those who are holding on, and those who are trying to say, look, we don't want war, but you're causing it.
mm,
You know,
mm,
eventually, and I feel eventually that they will actually succumb to what the masses want. You know what I mean? But that is there's no outside interference with this, which America is trying to put its ugly head into,
mm,
right?
mm.
But do they have enough troops to actually come and take on the nation of Africa? As it,
And we know the answer. We smile, but we, even if it's just basic mobilization, the answer to that is no. They
mm,
don't have enough.
exactly.
But they sometimes, not sometimes, that in the past they've confused us to the point where there is a misalignment with what the art of the possible is,
Hmm.
and we have everything we need as well as the
Which they're emphasizing at this particular time,
yes.
right? Now, now, as I say, to be part of that now, like for instance, as diasporians,
Mm,
right? To be part of that and to be part of the global program that is necessary, right?
mm,
Now, the only effective way, as I see it, right, and I'm inviting others to call in if they want to be part of this conversation on 0203 289 6504, right?
mm,
If for this to actually be effective now, right? How do you see it, or those who are in the listening see it, that we can be effective, right?
mm,
What can we do?
mm, mm. So, for me, because one of the bits or
Mm,
areas that I heard in terms of a nation within a nation,
mm,
and the opportunities that will present. Um, I liked the initial thought
mm,
of the said nation in a nation,
mm.
um, but we're still going to need to trade with. We're still going to need to communicate with.
Exactly.
Um, so I don't know how practical that is.
Right, right. Even as we're speaking now, for instance, now Jamaica,
Mm,
they're not in mass production of anything, um, apart from the minerals that they have there, right?
mm, mm,
Bauxite, I think,
mm,
is the main one what they have there right now, right?
mm,
Now, and and I'm talking about like global influential um, production. Okay.
mm,
Now, infrastructure, right? Unfortunately, again, they've sold the rights for their infrastructure, right, to mainly foreign developers.
Mm-hmm.
Consumerism,
Mm.
consumerism, and education,
Mm.
right, is still within the hands of the Jamaican, because even though Jamaica is only one of the islands out there, it's still very influential as a regional educational center,
Mm.
right? And I did mention this, I think it was last year, right, that one of the jewels of Jamaica is its young people, right?
Mm.
That is a major asset in that way there as well, right?
Mm.
They're young people.
Mm.
By investing in their education, much 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 too much like how they're doing in certain regions in Africa, and making that initial education, the infant education, free,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
They're making that free, and in some cases, they're to make like senior education free as well,
Mm.
because if they are looking at developing, right, as they need to, right, why is it that they're not looking to do that for their young people?
Mm.
Because look at the loyalty, right? And I feel that there is a technological and brain drain of Cuba as well. But the amount of fully educated and academically qualified people in Cuba is extremely high.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
Literacy is very low, right? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So come on now, right? Those are like good blueprints, right? Although we put a political umbrella over it all, but that was necessary at the time to achieve what they needed to achieve,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
It doesn't mean that we have to use the same like communist um, umbrella, but we could use elements that work. Can we not?
And I see no reason why, because I said initially, from a blueprint point of view, don't we already have one? So
Mm,
as much as they were doing blueprints of their time, and we
mhm,
recognize then that the Marcus Garvey blueprint was beyond its time,
mhm,
we can still go back and um, recreate
mhm,
and or mobilize with pride,
mhm,
because there are elements of it that will stand the test of time for today and or for the future.
mhm,
Um, because we're not starting with a blank page.
mhm,
The other way of looking at it is to make use of the technology that's out there, because the
mhm,
technology that's out there is infinitely more experienced and knowledgeable than any one mind.
mhm,
So, from an education point of view, and just let's expand on, let's play with that technology, let's test that technology and
mhm,
provide scenarios in terms if this, what, if, how, when, and
mhm,
allow the technology to provide us with some scenarios
mhm,
that we can then build on. So, okay, so if you've said that's one of the outcomes, what will happen if? And do it as a decision tree in terms of we don't know the answers, but we're putting a whole lot of parameters into the mix. So we don't know what the cake's going to come like. We've got a fair idea that we want a cake, so we know what the end goal is,
mhm,
but we don't necessarily know all the steps in order to get there. So is there something we can do? Is there something the technology that can do that will help us to get to that said end goal?
mhm, mhm.
Exactly, exactly. Though that's, I mean, obviously, we're not gonna resolve it in one session or a few hours conversation that we're having, right? But in in the sense of like, what is it actually going to happen in the near future? For instance, I know that many of us are going through a financial strife at the moment, whether it be of our own um, doing or not, right? A lot of us are going through that, but there are things that we should have been putting in place, right? And living because and learning through the lessons of the past, right? That enables us to have ease through our financial strife even today, right? There was a post that I saw, I think it was yesterday, right? And the person in that post was saying, if you look look at 10 houses down your street, right? And out of those 10, seven of those houses would be in debt at the moment, you know?
Hmm.
So when we look at it that, oh wow, there's seven out of 10 houses are in debt, right? Then you can see the real struggle that many of us are actually facing even today to go through what is actually a day-to-day living, right? Let alone looking for the future, right?
So
But it,
then,
but it has to be part of the conversation. It has to be part of the conversation.
so I would say yes, it has to be part of the conversation, but I'll also say that um, if we all live in seasons, that
Mm,
season will pass.
mm,
What we mustn't do is bury our space,
mm,
headspace, bury our faith in that I'm in debt, or I
mm,
hate debt, or I hate money. Yeah, 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 yeah. And
mm,
keep telling ourselves those things, because then we'll end up being in that season a little bit too long, which
mm,
then detracts us from doing that nation building, whether
mm,
it's nation building for ourselves. And then as our candle shines, others
mm,
will be attracted, recognize what's happening, and will want to say, yes, that's a blueprint in terms of a way of living. That's an opportunity in terms of, if you can do it, I can do it.
mm,
Um, we then don't get caught up in the um, distractions.
mm,
And there are many distractions out there. Debt is one of them, politics, religion, that you can name them
mm,
from a distraction point of view. But what we need to do is climb out of that distraction barrel,
mhm,
because that distraction will pass. And we may then say, okay, it passes and it moves in terms of I've got the abundance. But the abundance in itself will also pass, because we all live in seasons. And within that season, we need to do the best we can with the information that we have. And we need to, and for me, it's a case of, as I work on myself, I then give others the opportunity to, through the sharing of the information and the knowledge, and as what you're doing now in terms of playing the ancestral voices, and allowing our brothers and sisters to hear someone else's narrative. In them hearing someone else's narrative, it may help them to um, short circuit the space that they're in. That
mhm.
gives them an opportunity to lift their head above their parapet and see and smell and recognize the opportunities that are out there.
Exactly, exactly. We have to. I'm glad that we're sort of like in agreement with a lot of the things on what we're speaking on, right? I mean, I know that it sounds like I'm agreeing with everything, but If there's anything that I don't agree with, then I will say
Well,
that.
you always say if you don't agree, and that's the beauty of having a conversation, an adult to adult conversation, is
Yeah,
that we may not always agree.
yeah,
There is more common ground
hmm
than sometimes when we think. When you're arguing, you don't find that common ground.
no,
And
no,
if we're doing the nation building, we always need to find that common ground because we all want the same thing.
exactly, 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 and and like obviously looking at the different cultural perspectives as well, right? That has an influence on a lot of our scenarios as well. Again, emphasizing the availability of development as well. As I shared the other day, I was invited to the House of Commons to speak, not to speak, but to listen to a proposal that was put forward by
Mm,
one of my neighbors actually, and um, and then I was invited to actually speak as well. Right now, Now, even in that, and like I was emphasizing prior to this, to be prepared to, that if you're called upon, be prepared type of thing. So it's not a case of that you're going to be not prepared, right? But even to have that conversation around subjects that you may find uncomfortable, right? To verbalize it, right, is important as well. Our young people, as they grow, um, obviously to emphasize that life changes and they have to change. They have to change, adapt as
mm,
well. Mainly because if they're stuck in the same thing, same theory, right, continuously, not even to say, okay, I've learned a skill, right? But technology has moved on,
mm,
right? Is that skill going to be purposeful in the next 6 months, a year?
mm,
I,
mm,
I, I recall a person who was not coding, programming computers, writing programs for
mm,
computers.
mm,
Right now, very skilled, very skilled that person is,
mm,
and then they he wanted to diversify for a while. So he was out of it for about a year, right?
mm,
A year, right? For someone who had been working in that field, right, for like 10 years prior to that.
mm,
And in that year, technology had moved on so far that he said that it would take him almost 2 years to even catch up with what's happening.
mm,
You understand?
mm,
And this is the type of thing that we could get caught up with as well,
mm,
right? Because situations change that rapidly
mm,
that we have to be on top of it. And the thing is to be innovative, you have to be ahead of it.
mm,
Anticipation in that anticipation space.
mm,
So what's happening here is what's working,
mm,
but what's happening over here
mm,
is what is creating what's going to be working.
mm.
That's where we need to be. That's where we need to be.
So there was something you said, and I'm probably gonna misquote it
No, it's all
because
right. It's all right.
humans, when they're listening to a conversation, but they're thinking of a response.
Mm,
Um, you was talking about being ready.
mm,
Um, so for me, there's a need to always be constantly ready.
mm,
And the analogy that I had in relation to that is um, you're expecting something or you want something, but you don't bring. So you're expecting rain. You're a farmer. You want rain. You need rain. You tend your crops, but you don't bring an umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
You know you want to travel, but you don't take out get your passport sorted.
Mm. Come on.
You know you've got family abroad, elders abroad, and if anything, when you get that news, because you're going to get that news that they're going to transition,
Mm.
you're there running around saying, "I need to do this, I need to do that," yada 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 yada. If we're thinking about that nation state, and we're thinking about putting ourselves in a position to do what needs to be done, to roll up our sleeves, at some point we need to start doing the internal work on ourselves.
Mm.
We're ready. And I've alluded to the technology before. You've just spoken about the technology.
Mm.
If we know where we want to go, there are things we can be doing in order to future proof or put ourselves in a position where we can actively participate, actively help to get something done.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my humble opinion, doing nothing and waiting for the answers, whatever they may appear to be, is a distraction because that's someone else's answers
Mm-hmm.
to the puzzle. And because we are all unique, collectively, we are that tapestry that has all the answers. So as we work on ourselves, we will, from an energetic point of view, we will meet others who are on the same trajectory, on the same lines. We will not listen or get taken in by those distractions. And we will, as you demonstrated, get an opportunity just to go somewhere as a observer who is called to speak and having something to say because you've already done the work. You've already put those thoughts into fruition, whereby you could stand up eloquently and express yourself without turning around and saying and doing a lot of the filler words. Thank you for. I would like to propose. You wasn't doing any of that because you weren't expecting to speak, but you came dressed appropriately and you stood up and you said what needed to be said. You're muted and magnificent.
I say that I was dressed in based African attire. Yeah.
So you'd
And
thought about your dress sense before you left.
oh yes, yes,
You're
definitely.
unfashionable, so you dressed appropriately.
If I'm gonna be in that arena, they must know who they're dealing with.
And I'm going to cut you here because many a times our leaders, when they are in someone else's house,
Mm,
they wear the clothes of um, their the
yeah.
person who invited them
Hmm.
rather than wearing what they're comfortable in. But they
Yeah.
may not be comfortable in the African attire, so that's another thought and another question. But yes, it's beautiful the fact that you dressed how you were comfortable in
Mm,
and entered in an arena and were able to speak eloquently about a subject
mm, mm,
that you've done. Like I said, you've done some work on it.
mm,
You
mm.
have you've had the thought process. You've formulated a way forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? One of the things that I was glad with as well, and it's just a little thing, just a little thing,
Mm,
right? I was leaving from there. I was leaving from the House of Commons.
mm,
I was heading home, right?
mm,
And I was about to approach the bus stop, and I saw the bus at the bus stop, right?
mm,
And I thought to myself, you know what? Let me just jog and see if I can catch this bus.
Mm,
And as I was approaching, the bus driver saw me
mm,
as he was pulling off, and he stopped. He opened the door, and
mm.
then as I came onto the bus, he opened up the door and he just shook my hand, and I knew exactly why as well. And I said,
Mm,
"Thank you." He says, "Thank you, man. Thank you."
mm.
He said, "Yes, yes." So you know that I was in full radiance that day. Full radiance that day. Simple, but we was ready and present.
Yes, simple and effective. But it wasn't only on just the one level.
No,
It was on
no.
more than one level.
Yes, obviously, yeah, yeah.
And that's what we need to be. We need to be ready.
Mm, mm,
Because we don't know when we're going to be called. So we need to be having those conversations, like you say. Um, we need to be prepared.
hmm
And I'm
hmm
just putting juice in the
Say again. Yes, babe. Yes, family. Yes, family. Right. Listen, our sister Sandra, when she returns, she's going to be speaking into a presentation that she wants to us. Uh, Are you ready for that, my sister?
Yep.
Okay. Okay then.
So we have been speaking about um, change
hmm
and recognizing then that the landscape as we know it is changing. So the question is, are we prepared? What are we doing? What have we put into place in order to um, be ready? Because we can't wait until the plane's about to leave and we start running around for the passport. We can't wait until when we've got that news before we start saying, okay, this is what I want to do, because at that point it's too late. So there's a need to embrace change even when you do not want to. The change that I'm referring to, and Brother Aston has alluded to, he spoke about the technology, and he spoke about someone he knew who was in the IT computer arena in terms of knowledge and skills, stepped out for a year, and when he was looking to go back in, realized that things had moved on. So, from an education point of view, from a change point of view, we need to be mindful of what's happening around us. We need to have the courage to adapt in a rapidly changing world, and it is definitely changing. So, I'm going to make you a promise, and it is a big promise. And I just want you, whatever you're doing now, just to take stock. Change is inevitable. I'm going to say that again. Change is inevitable. The growth is optional. And that's a quote by John C. Maxwell. Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. We can bury our heads in the sand. We can get distracted by I'm in debt, I'm in this, I'm in that, I'm not ready, um, I'm not happy, but I don't know what to do. So we sit on our hands saying, I'm not happy, I don't know what to do. And we tell everybody we're not happy. And we have a pity fest and a moan fest with our nearest and dearest and anyone else who's prepared to listen. Like I said, the growth is optional. So having worked 25 years plus in the public sector, I've designed and developed e-learning courses. I've mapped out recruitment and selection processes within the public sector, ready for a new recruitment system. And even within doing that, even as I did that, for myself, but I could see it for others, that there was a fear of what would the new system look like. There is a fear, and there was a fear of the unknown. It's a change in itself. So we talk about change and we say, yeah, we're going to embrace change, yada, yada. But because of that fear of the unknown, that just the mere word change seems so hard. We may feel a loss of control as a result of that change. We may think to ourselves, you know what? I do actually prefer to be in the driver's seat. I do prefer to know what I'm doing. I know how the phone works. I know how the computer works. I know the apps that I've got on my phone. I know that, and I know that, and I know that. So we get comfortable in that routine because we know that, we know that, we know. So we're comfortably with what we currently know. But that doesn't matter. Change in itself is still happening. Like I said, the growth is optional. So we cannot bury our heads in the sand to stop the change. So, family, in the past, we used to listen to music on that thing called vinyl. I remember going to parties, clubs, I remember going to family, friends, and seeing them pull out that vinyl, putting it on, listening to the crackle, listen to just the energy of that music. In the 80s, we couldn't carry around so much the records, so we'd transport them onto a tape recorder. And I remember having a Blaupunkt CD radio, or a tape recorder and a radio in the car. And the reason that I wanted it is because it could play my tapes. So I could still keep in contact with that said music if I didn't want to tune into the radio. We've moved on since then. We're holding a mobile phone. And some of you will be listening to this Blacknificent Radio show on your phone. Wow, who would have known? Today, we have the technology in our fingertips, on our fingertips. The laptop, the phone, with the apps, the phone that can now record, it can take photos, it can do videos, it can connect you to anyone that you want in the world via the visual media rather than only the spoken media. We can write, it becomes a dictating machine. It becomes our library. It becomes we no longer need the Encyclopedia Britannica because we've got our Google, our best friend. We've got Alexa, our best friends. So over half the world's business are exploring and implementing AI. So the question is, what is AI? And there is a long when I put in the question into my best friend, one of my good friends, Mrs. Google, it came up with a definition. But the simple definition that I like and I prefer to use, it's AI is machines that learn from data and make decisions. So I'll say that again. AI is a machine that learns from data and makes decisions. So how is it? How is AI transforming businesses? I've mentioned the phone, the amount of the changes to our current phone. And if we look at our phone, and depending on if you've got the phone with a fruit or you've got the phone with the Android, you may have face recognition. You may have two-step authentication. We make use of products such as Amazon, Netflix, and they use our data and recommend or suggest products and contents based on our behavior. Now, this may be conscious or unconscious, and we may think to ourselves, well, I'm not going to do that. But how often have you been searching for something on the internet and a couple of hours later you open up Google and the ads that come up are the ads related to what you were searching for? You've moved on, but the ads haven't. They're suggesting products and content based on your searching and scrolling behavior. And this is even in terms of the various and the many store cards that are out there and loyalty schemes, etc., that are out there. They will base suggestions. They will use the information, your data, how you shop, and they will suggest products based on your behavior. Brother Aston spoke about the education system. And I know back in the day from an education system, they used to often say, we mustn't plagiarism, or if you caught cheating, and they'd use the word cheating rather than plagiarism. If you're caught cheating, you're within an exam or whether on an assignment, you were automatically going to get a fail, or you can't take that paper. That's another conversation, but that has encouraged us to say, okay, well, I am an island, and we know there's a song that says no man is an island, but I'm an island, I can do it all myself. One hand can't clap. So how AI is being used now to reinforce some of those behaviors which in of themselves seem pure at the time. Okay, why should I get the same grade as Brother Aston if he's done all the work and I'm just copying his work? So teachers will use AI to grade essays and identify the plagiarism faster. We were just talking about and the ancestral voices that was played was referring to a nation state. In order to do the nation state, there's going to need to be a lot of there will be elements of the need to copy. There will be the need to rinse and repeat. There will be the need to collaborate. As AI is being used by teachers in order to identify the plagiarism faster, they are discouraging us from having those conversations whilst we're young. But like I said, that's another conversation that I'd love to explore. AI is transforming customer service. Most of us, many of us, will have an Alexa, and I'm going to say the word Alexa. And if you have one in the room where you are at, it's suddenly going to light up thinking, what are you asking me? What are you telling me? We may have Google assistants, Siri, Alexa. We'll have something on our phone that we can speak into. They're all AI tools based on integrity. So the question isn't, is AI coming? AI, artificial intelligence, the data and the ability to make decisions is already here. So there is an opportunity hidden in the disruption. And why do I say an opportunity? Because even though change in of itself, it equals discomfort and opportunity. So as a young person, as someone who's, regardless of where you are on that spectrum, I'm not only speaking to those who are young, I'm speaking to those who have gone through the education system. I'm speaking to those who are currently in their employments, and thinking about a way out, thinking about a side hustle, thinking about an opportunity that can be there for them. Change equals discomfort plus opportunity, and AI has provided us with the opportunity. We don't have an idea of what's possible. So 6 months ago, there were only 14,000 AIs for 14,000 tasks and for 4,000 jobs. Sorry, not 6 months, that's 18 months ago. Now there's over 35,000 AIs that affect 1.36 billion jobs globally. So you may think, oh God, I'm scared of the impact. But my question to you is, what if change is the path to your next chapter? Can you stand up in the House of Commons and formulate a response? And Brother Aston may not necessarily have had a response clearly mapped out, but he could have sat down there and made use of AI to help him in that short space of time. So embrace change. It doesn't matter what your age is. Rather than walking around with the books, and some of us do still like to turn the pages, but audiobooks, if you're driving a lot during the days or you're at work and you've got an opportunity of listening to something, listen to something that feeds your soul and feeds your mind. Make use of the audiobook. Make use of the computer, the phone. Phones are not just for ring now. The phones in of themselves are a mini computer in your hand. So there needs to be a mindset shift. A fixed mindset avoids challenges. A growth mindset embraces the challenges. A fixed mindset gives up easily. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, I can't. Oh, I can't. Whereas that growth mindset says, I can learn and persist in any of those setbacks. Some people say, well, AI is going to replace people. AI won't replace people. But remember, people who use AI will outperform those who don't. So there are small steps that you can take when you're thinking about the future. And one of the steps is to do a little self-check. This is from resistance to curiosity. So just think about a piece of technology, something that you've done that in the past you used to be really frightened about. And it could be anything. It could be the upgrade to the mobile phone. It could be the upgrade to the laptop, and turning it on and thinking, oh my God, back in the day, they used to give you a manual on paper, instructions. Now they just give you, you've got to, through the operating system, there's a manual on that device. Do a self-check of some form of technology that in the past you didn't like, or you're frightened of, or you didn't understand. That was in the past. Where are you now? Are you using that technology? Did you figure out the phone? And in figuring out the phone, how does that make you feel? Do you now smile at yourself when you think, I had a problem with that? I was worried about that. I lost sleep over that. So flip the fear. If you can do it with that, this AI-driven growth, why can't you flip that also? Why can't you remind yourself that that word can't can be flipped to I can do, I am able to do. Go into Google and just put instruction. What's 3 things AI can help me with? Just a simple question, and to see what comes out. So I'm here to make it easy and affordable, offering online classes. So if you do want the help and the assistance, I'm here to offer the online classes, and I'm going to be using social media to and sharing dates of a class which I am organising on the, what date is it? It is on the 19th of May. So think about the language you use. Do not say, I have to change. Instead, say, I get to grow. And in that growth, what legacy do you want to leave with the opportunities that are available to you? So let's future proof you. Like I said, I'm here to make it easy and affordable. I offer online classes. You can also book a complimentary call. You can contact me via email at info@sandramavensmithmarnin.com if you've got any questions. Remember, you don't have to leap. Just take a step.
Well done, well done, well done. Standing ovation for that one, there, sir. I'll have to segment that clip. You can use that in the future as well. Another show as well, you know. Well done, my sister. Right. So, if you could give out that email once again,
It's
please.
info, info, at sandramavensmith.com.
Mhm. Okay, that should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because for me, if I'm thinking about the umbrella and doing the work, there's things that we can't avoid.
Hmm.
So why put ourselves at a disadvantage?
I recently changed my phone,
Mm,
and their encouragement to set up,
mm.
right, is to mm, oh, oh,
Mavensmith.com.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Don't know why it never came out. There we go. Da, 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 da. Right, that's it. Right. Their recommendation in setting up that phone um, was very heavily orientated towards was it Genie? Is it Genie? Yeah,
Yes. So
which is one
that's
of the
Android AI.
yeah, right. So in that way there, I thought, okay then. So now it's really gone over to the, out of your hand type of technology, because obviously the next generation of phone is going to have less and less personal, physical interaction, and more of the voice control interaction, isn't it? You know, voice activation and things.
So, what we used to, and some of the way that we used to think in the past,
Hmm.
we always often started with that blank sheet of paper,
Hmm.
or we make things hard for ourselves. And
Hmm.
there is, we can do the mix and make and allow the mix to work with us and for us.
Hmm.
So it's almost like a simple one. Back in the day, you'd have the television,
Hmm.
and as a younger person in the house, and depending on who was the youngest person in the house, you became the remote control. You were the one that had to go physically get up and go switch, switch, because the adult or the guardian was never that person. It
Hmm.
moved beyond that.
Hmm.
Now we've got a remote control in our hand
Hmm.
that we can speak into and we can switch the stations.
Hmm.
We don't physically have to do that scrolling through. So that just shows you how the technology has advanced. You can still make a choice just because you're using the AI Genie, which is related to the Android phone. It doesn't necessarily mean then that it takes away all the control. The thing about AI, and that's the one thing we need to recognize, is that we are still the human that needs to stay in the loop. Because just because we've asked for um, the pizza to be delivered
Hmm.
and the connection's gone through, they may come back to you with one of the chicken sandwiches because there's just been a misinterpretation.
It's what was left in the hot pot.
Exactly.
let's
However,
let's be honest now.
however, we have an opportunity whereby, even in relation to our show,
Yeah.
we can be using technology to translate what we're saying
Hmm.
to our brothers and sisters in different continents.
That's right. That's right.
English doesn't have to be the first language, it can
I
be.
think I'm more excited about using that in preference to um, communication in learning in that element.
Mm,
Something practical, you know.
mm,
Um, communication, I think that is very, very important, right? As you know, I have been pushing that as one of the skills that we do need to learn,
mm,
right? And obviously bringing it more to life now, the conversations. That's what's and obviously allowing our brothers from the continent, right, to express themselves in a more of a natural form,
mm,
reference to the second hand, third hand language of the British
mm, mm,
English, you
mm,
know.
mm.
So if they can, if that, I mean, obviously they have do, sorry, they do have African interpretations, translation buds, you know, the earpieces, right? They do have those, but obviously he's not going to go across the entire region with them because the vastness of the different various dialects and languages that they have. But the main languages like Swahili and such like, they would have those translated in those. So you know, in in most cases, if they're available.
So that's the challenge. So
Mhm.
with the application that I'm thinking of,
Mhm.
it doesn't have the African
Which is
dialects,
yeah, yeah. But
uh, but
one of the
it,
initial translators
mm,
was was based on an African language,
mm,
you know?
mm,
And the the innovator of it was a young African brother.
Mm.
So you know, eventually it's gonna be one of those things of, oh well, this is normal.
Until when we can close that gap,
Yeah.
and there's no reason why it's going to take long because, as I said, technology is moving at such a pace.
Hmm.
So there may be a brother or sister out there that wants to add to the mix and provide that translation, so it
Hmm.
then becomes seamless. So that even though I'm speaking in English, you're speaking in English,
Hmm.
it's translated in real time and it's being understood in the dialect. But until when we get to that space, we know that there are other dialects that our African brothers and sisters were forced to speak.
Hmm.
And the beauty about beauty is the wrong word. The opportunities that they had is that they can speak more than one language,
Hmm.
English being one, their national dialect. And they may, I know when I've traveled to, whether it be Gambia, whether it be to Egypt, whether it be to Kenya, Tanzania, any of the, and spoke to any of our brothers and sisters on the continent, they could all speak at least 4 or 5 languages. So if they're not able to communicate in, I can only speak in one,
Hmm.
but they were often well versed in whether it be the French, the Spanish, the English
Hmm.
as a foundation.
Yeah.
Any others, so most of them can speak at least 4 or 5 different languages.
Hmm.
And set it up whereby they can hear it in whatever language. They can then choose whether or not they want to listen to it in English, they want to listen to it in Spanish, they want to listen to it in German, they want to listen to it in um, French. They can make that decision, and it becomes a real time conversation. And if we can add the dialects, then they've got another option. But that's how AI can help us when in real time, just so that we can communicate, we can expand on um, our communication and conversations with our brothers and sisters on the continent.
We shouldn't. I don't think that we should shy away from this. In fact, I feel that it's one of those tools that is going to be part of our development.
Mm,
Just like how many of us have transitioned to the visual. Let's see what's happening on YouTube.
mm,
Type of thing, you know,
mm,
I feel that it's going to be one of those assets. Let's make it into an asset.
mm,
Right?
mm,
Um, if you know, it's not like everybody's going to be a contributor to the information line,
mm,
but um, it could develop you to actually even go into further education,
mm,
because like there were certain things that my little phone, I'm thinking, oh my word, it can do all of this, and I'm looking on the YouTube to just see how it operates, and you know, because there's always some other things that you can do.
mm,
Listen, let me tell you something. There was one person there, and he's an expert that goes through all the different functions and everything else. He
mm,
said it took him over 4 weeks to go through this phone continuously. So
mm.
so for the person who's handling this first time, it might take you 4 years. don't know what don't know what I got, but yeah, dag. Uh, yeah,
But the thing about that is that, regardless of how long it takes you, do not be afraid,
yeah,
because there's going to be functionality and things on there that will help you to do things faster.
yeah.
And
Efficient as
if
well.
it saves you time in that area, it means you've got time to do something else in a different area. That
Yeah.
may mean reading a book, that may mean doing some meditation, that may mean doing some work on yourself, that may mean having a communication conversations with friends and family, and just sharing the fact that, yeah, it's a beautiful day. Rather than rush past and rush fast, let me stop and talk to someone.
Mhm. And that is just the thing. But anyhow, as you're right, you said you've trained yourself to be a facilitator to the AI technology
Mm.
in various forms. In you being a facilitator, does that mean that it's like computer based, or like, for instance, most of us have a phone anyhow, right? But to utilize that, in what perspective are you actually approaching this to everyone?
So we've often heard in terms of um, chat GPT as a large language model,
Hmm.
and okay, we can just put things in and we can get information out. Now we know that there are a number of I recognize there are a number of large language models out there. There are some that automatically come to mind, and there are some which we don't use at all. But it's making use of the technology. So,
Hmm.
like I said, we spoke about the apps. Apps is the wrong word, but we spoke about some of the AI technologies that are out there in terms of Wordly as one. Um, you were in a space whereby you was hearing a presentation. There would have been lots of conversations around that presentation, and the question I'd ask is whether or not it was recorded. What could you do with that recording? That recording can be, you can use that as part of your data set to either analyze and think, how can I take this forward?
Yes.
So you can start to. So what I will do, it's going to be two types of courses. One will be around prompt engineering, and it's what the information you're putting into the said large language model. I tend to use chat GPT, but also thinking about the other tools, the AI tools that are out there that can help and assist us to do our day to day. So whether it be tools in terms of um, thinking about the various, whether it be tools in terms of language, whether it be tools in terms of auditory, whether it be tools in terms of our spoken, whether it be tools. So looking at all the various, whether it be tools in terms of productivity. So there are many tools that are out there that can help us to do things. Like I said, saves time, and if it can save time on that specific task, whereby we're not at a blank sheet of paper, we're not putting it off, we can then move forward and do something else. Because if we're all here for a purpose, why are we sitting on our hands?
Yeah. 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 There's there's one other element, to sort of like bring it for me personally. Um, how to use it? How do you see that I could actually utilize that in my health regime, for instance? Now.
So, from a health point of view, it can become your personal fitness trainer. But not only in terms of from a fitness point of view, depending on the questions that you're asking, you can also get it. You can do it from a fitness point of view. You can do it in terms of nutritional point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it in terms of a reminder to do certain things at certain times.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use it as a basic um, reminder.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do the searches whereby you can ask the questions, and because of how the technology is gathered and the research, because it's a qualified doctor, it's a qualified nurse, it's a qualified um, architect, all of the professions, it's qualified above and beyond. As long as you're asking it the right questions, it can provide you with some direction in terms of um, helping and assisting you as you get better. I'm going to use that word, but as you heal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, from a food point of view, we only know what we know. Uh, so I've got a basic app on my phone
Mm-hmm.
that I can use. I can go into any supermarket, any shop, whatever. As long as there's a barcode, you can scan it, and it will tell you. It gives you an indication of whether or not that's good, bad, or indifferent.
Okay.
But within the AI itself, you can go deeper in terms of, okay, so what does good, bad, and indifferent look like? What
Yeah.
foods are available? Where can I access and source those said food?
Hmm.
Um, and the access and the sources won't stop only at the bottom of your street
Hmm.
or within the M25. There may be other products that you may be beneficial to you that you get via our good friend Amazon because it's coming via our
Yeah.
good friend on the continent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's then making those links, but you don't know again what you don't know.
Mm. Yeah. I've experienced various things. I mean, obviously, the one that is annoying for me, right, is obviously the pop-ups and adverts and everything else, prompts.
Mm,
You know, that's kind of like annoying at times. But obviously, it's all part of this what you call it, an algorithm.
algorithm, but also it's part of they've got to pay for the advertising. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
got to pay for the product. So
Yeah.
if we think about the number of years, so if we so I was because I am a new I'm new to the possibilities.
Hmm.
But in order for those possibilities to be where they are, because I remember growing up with the encyclopedia, I think it wasn't Britannica because we couldn't afford the Britannica. We
Um,
had we had one of the others.
I'd want to know.
It was brown. We didn't get the Britannica because that was a black, but we
Yeah.
got a brown one. And the AI in itself has consumed all of that information. It's learned on the data basically as we've been using it, and it's to a point now whereby it has answers at an infinite level that we don't even some of them it's just like, yeah, it just blows your
You
mind,
could even
the opportunities that are available,
I
the
know. I know. The
intelligence
thing
and
is
question
that
how to use it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And as rightly said, and you said this earlier on, it's just to and put it in my terms, right? Is to enjoy the journey of the transition type of thing,
Mm,
because it inevitably or eventually it is going to eliminate a lot of things that we usually rely on. For instance, cash, money. That that's
mm,
that's that's on definitely on the agenda in some societies. That is
mm,
going to go to a cashless
mm,
society.
mm,
Japan has virtually out. What have they done? They've virtually outgrown the use of actual money, and they
mm,
do credit for not only for work, right, but for social behavior as well,
mm,
right? And if you don't uh, comply to certain social behaviors, they restrict you from doing a lot of things like driving, um, traveling,
mm,
and whatever. So irrespective of like what you think that you're in control of, or where
mm.
you think you're in control of. Trust me, they they will implement whatever way they want, type of thing. So
Well, I know that I saw previously that they were looking to do something in one of the towns or cities in the UK,
mm,
as a test.
yeah,
So my rationale is that give yourself an opportunity to understand the
what's coming?
what's coming
Hmm.
and position yourself in a space whereby, you know what, if I don't like it, I can go,
Hmm.
whether
Exactly.
it's physically or whether or not it's because I've got the access to the technology.
Mm,
Because the AI in itself won't take every single job
Mm.
because it can't. There's some jobs that plumber AI can't do plumbing.
We
So
just
there are
want
some jobs that it can't do.
physical skills, manual
Yeah,
skills.
there's some it can drive a car, but there's some jobs that it can't do.
Mm.
Within that, from an inventory point of view, what the AI will do would be the back end or the um, the front end or the back end
Mhm.
from a technology point of view. But the question I would encourage everyone to do is to understand your space in the AI arena and
Mhm.
don't assume that if I do nothing, it'll be okay because it comes back to your friend
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
in computers. And
Mhm.
something I read and heard the other day is that whereas before you could go and you could study to do coding, you
Mhm.
don't. AI has taken that whole coding arena,
Ouch.
kicked it to touch
Yes. Yeah.
because of the way that it operates.
That was one of the school that was one of the things within schools at
Mm,
one time, wasn't it? Learning coding,
mm,
and then obviously the next level of what needs to be done, and what they deem as being useful is to be fulfilled as well. So you know, but even though we say okay, coding is out. I won't say outdated, but within certain regions. But even if they are outdated here, somewhere around the world, it will be made useful. So it's not to say that here is the be all and end all as well.
Mm.
You know, um,
And
I
if
was.
we go back to the African continent and recognizing that all the resources are there,
Mhm.
um, and that's resources not only in terms of the physical resources, or the natural resources. You've got the people as a
Mhm.
resource,
Mhm.
um, and you've got the sunshine and the weather as another resource.
Mhm.
There are opportunities, and I know that Brother Akram will often speak about the opportunities on the continent.
Mhm.
Um, and the ancestral voices that you played spoke about some of the possibilities that we have. Now, it'd be interesting if you were
Mhm.
to make use of AI and put those same questions into AI, because I don't know when that was recorded, and see what they couldn't see as an answer in that time, whether or
Mhm.
not AI, one of the um, prompts that you put in,
Mhm.
and how you build the prompt, whether or not
Mhm.
it could give you an answer. I'm not saying the answer's wrong or right, but at least it means you're no longer starting with a blank sheet of paper,
Yeah.
and you're bringing something into the current day rather than just thinking about, yes, Marcus Garvey had a blueprint, and others have had blueprints, but those blueprints were for the
Mhm.
um, different era.
Yeah, yeah. That's that. I mean, that is just me, right? Because some of us are very comfortable with using those quotations and what's thing now? There was another word I was going to say onto that, but I can't remember what it is now. I can't remember how to pronounce it. But some people are they're used to using those words within their vocabulary, anyhow. But I think again it's the engineer within me always looking for the next, yeah,
Mm, mm.
and embracing the change that is going to be useful for myself. That way, I just need one what will generate six lucky numbers, and I think I'll be happy. Thank you.
So if you think about the six lucky numbers, if you put in that prompt and everyone else puts in that prompt, effectively you'll get
You
pennies
see,
rather
now
than pounds.
you've let it out the bag. You've let. What's the matter with you, woman? This is why I could never rob a bank with you, know. See? Let it out of the thing. But anyhow, sure, sure.
but it's but what I would encourage, because like I said, there are so many different um
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
there are so many different um tools that are out there, and
Uh-huh.
the learning and the training that I will do will be just to open your eyes to some degree. Because if you think about Google
An
Pixels,
awareness program, yeah.
yeah,
It's there. Yeah,
that's talks about photos and putting someone else in and taking someone out,
yeah,
and it's sometimes we don't know what we don't know.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there are
No, no,
different
no. I
levels of the
hear you.
program.
I hear you. I hear you. We're joined by our brother Geb at this time. Good grand risings to you, and welcome to the Blacknificent Show.
Grand Rising, Brother
Yeah,
Geb.
Hotep, Hotep family.
What's up,
It actually it was a courtesy call. My brother, I'm listening to you on Zeno,
uh-huh.
and your mic level is probably 50% of the sisters, so it's
Uh,
really hard to hear you in particular.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
I just wanted you to know that. But then, as I was calling, sister made a comment, and so I would seek clarification on the comment that she made.
yeah.
The comment that she made was about Marcus Garvey's blueprint
Mm,
and it being for a different era.
mm,
And I would love to know uh, why she believes that's the case.
So that was as a result of an earlier comment that I'd made, and Brother Aston, because initially at the beginning of our conversation, I said we can use Marcus Garvey as a blueprint, and um, Brother Aston agreed but didn't agree in terms of, or he was saying that um, would it still stand the test of time? Because when it was written at that period of time. That's my understanding. So that's why I put it back in there to say if you don't agree with or don't feel that that said blueprint that was written
mm,
in that century is still applicable now or in the future, then you can make use of the said AI to put that into the mix so you're not starting with a blank sheet of paper and seeing what comes up.
mm,
So that's why I'm not saying that it's not applicable. I'm saying that there may be some out there that don't feel that it's applicable because of the advancement in whether it be technology in terms of ways of life, etc., thought processes. Um, so they may want to add to what was produced at that point.
mm.
Does
Yeah.
that
I
help?
mean,
See that, does that clarify it for you?
I will say just to put something on top of that as well, right? I mean, obviously, I initiated that line of conversation there, right? Now, as just like with technology, as it moves on, right? Development, social development, right, has moved on, but obviously for some of us, we've been caught in the trap of, I would say, trap of being still subservient to the systems, right? So even even at the time, as it was highlighted by uh, Marcus Garvey, of what was needed for the African race and the diasporian African race to rise up and to really take charge of their own destiny, right? The skills that he was exhibiting at the time, those should be basic skills of what we supposed to be having right now, and to actually to make it more effective, right? Because as I say, we need to be ahead of the game, not just trundling along with society as it is now. We're supposed to be ahead of the game.
Yeah. So to the sister first.
Mhm.
Yes, sister. Thank you for clarifying. And then to you and to both of you and to the listener world.
Mm,
Marcus Garvey's blueprint
mm,
was a blueprint.
mm,
Within a blueprint, so let's call it a long term goal,
mm,
Yeah.
right? An idea that needs to be achieved.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
Within that long term goal, we all need to find these short term goals to achieve a long time goal.
mm,
And when new technology comes along, if it's applicable, we use it. If
mm,
it's
Yeah.
not applicable, we don't use it, but it doesn't change ever the blueprint.
mm,
No.
The
Yeah, I agree
idea,
with that.
that idea doesn't change.
mm,
And so, but what I would also add to, as it relates to AI,
Mm.
mhm,
remember who we are dealing with, and remember who is creating the information going into these AI systems, understanding how they work.
mhm,
The more dependent we become on AI, the more they will control our thinking, no different than the school systems that we send our children to.
mhm,
So we must be very wary of AI, and whatever it is, we should always see now how is it applicable to Africans, or to use our brother Kweku's terminology, how do we Africate it to us? But AI, considering those creating it, we have to understand who they are, how they think, and how it could do further damage to our African brothers and sisters. So
mm,
just be wary is all I would like to add there.
mhm. Okay.
So
Good.
I
Good.
I
Okay.
recognize and understand and agree that there needs to always be, and that's why I say keep the human in the loop. As Africans, we need to still maintain and um, be prepared to challenge and or disagree with and or say, yeah, this works for me. Um, when we give up our ability to make comment, reference, and or challenge, then we, like the education system and or other systems, we become hostage to someone else's tune.
Um, I would say you're right in what you're saying, right? Agree with what you're saying, and I would also say that the technological development progresses, and I said that we have to be ahead of the game. So in doing that, just like when something has come through innovative, we need to reinvent that for our use as well, right? So AI, as it is right now, I still feel that it's at the early stages, because it's only now that they're allowing the public to actually have the interaction. They the system have been interacting with this thing for many years already. Over was it 1920? Wow, nearly 100 years already, right? That they've been having interaction with electronic interactions in that way there, right? Now, as I say, where we need to be is ahead of the game, right? Using translation programs, for instance, learning the language, right? And being a familiarizing ourselves or reattuning ourselves to our original languages, for instance. What was going through my mind at this time, it would be fantastic now to have a scan that would interpret the walls of the temples in Egypt, for instance, right? Because there are secrets what are right in front of our faces, and we're not even aware of it, right? So let's in some ways, yes, right, but in other ways, let's really utilize these things so that it tells our story as well. Any other further comments, my brother?
Yeah, my one further comment. I think the sister's reference for me made total sense in terms of, and this is what it is, they're if and statements. So, and that's a great way to understand it. What we put in is programmed to put something out. And then if we tweak it, it's programmed to adjust it and put something else out, which is really further indication that they are in control, and they're going to it will only put out what's in there. And there is not much in there, perhaps nothing in there as it relates to African liberation. You won't find nothing in there if you asked it what needs to be done to overthrow this racist European cabal. There will be no answer. So our answers will not be found in AI. They will be found within. And that's my final thought.
Between you and I and the
Gatepost.
gatepost, right? I have asked those questions, and you're correct.
Yeah. No, the system is set up and recognizing then that who built the original systems, which comes back to Marcus Garvey and that blueprint. So that blueprint, there was a communication and conversation that was at the level that could not be stopped by others. So when you're asking those type of questions, we would need to be clever in terms of how and who we ask those questions to, because the hunter's not necessarily want to what they say about the hunter.
Right, but basically, I mean, like, even if I give a basic interpretation of how my interaction was with it, I ask, first of all, I would like to speak to said subject or said person, right? And then it would give me the answer or a return of, like, we can only use the information that they have shared with us anyway. So it's like through their writings, speeches, and everything else. Then they would formulate an answer or conversation piece between using those information. And obviously free will, which is void within that conversation. But it gives a, how can I put it, a undertone undertone of the possibility of what the conversation could be, you know. And then in that way there, it leaves it for you to decipher if it's appropriate or it's contextual to what you actually asking in the first place. So that's why I say to, and I was smiling on that when Brother Geb said that. And it's true, it's not allowing us to have that in person type of interaction as what we would be seeking, or in depth, rather than just using it as an informative information tool
Mm.
in that way.
Yeah, sister said something that
Mm,
that I need to respond and rebut.
yeah.
You implied through your response that if we are clever enough to ask it in a very clever way, we may get that level of answer. That was how I interpreted what you said. And I'm saying no, there is no way to obtain that level of answer, but neither would the answer be in there in the first place because of who built it. Now, the other very important thing is understanding who we are as Africans. This system doesn't pour libation. That system doesn't call in the ancestors or the Orishas to guide them through their thinking or their process. That system cannot do all the necessary things that Africans need to do in order to obtain the right answer and guidance within our footsteps. So, the system is there as a system of use for them and not for Africans. And I'm just restating
what I stated earlier in a different manner. So if you wanted to respond to a quick email, that's what it's there for. All these European paradigms, right? But it's not there under any sense to help Africans liberate or to gain any insight to liberation. And that ultimately is what all Africans, I am hoping, are looking for. So again, let's not get too distracted with AI. And I think, as Dr. Abu would say, use our own African intelligence. And we have some master teachers that we can get and read and get that insight from them. They'll teach us how to pour libation. They'll teach us how to build our altars and what we need to do, what words we need to utter. That to me is far more important than this AI stuff. And but if you use it, you use it. Just understand that it's not going to change the African life. And when I say the African life, it's not going to bring us what we're all seeking. And I land there.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very poignant part, in interaction there, because it's good to get that element as well, because as we're conversing, you and I, Sister Sandra, everyone was probably think, oh, they're going in that one track,
Mm,
but there are many ways of looking on this as well,
mm,
and as I say, because I've been involved in the engineering aspects of it, I can understand how to and like to hear and see the interpretations or misinterpretations as it has been spilled out, right?
mm,
Different forms of language, diction, as well. You
mm,
know, these are things that we can observe as well. It's like learning an instrument. When something's out of tune
mm.
or in tune. Yeah. Okay. So it's one of those things. And I say that not to sound clever,
Mm,
but just like many of us, right? If we've read quite extensively on a subject, then we know the possibilities of what's going to happen and how it should be interpreted. But if you're not too versed in that, you can be led in a one way or another.
mm.
Yeah. So it's nothing to be afraid. In my opinion, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just to learn the skills of how to navigate this thing as well.
And that's what I would like to land on, because I'm going to be leaving the Blacknificent family shortly.
Okay. 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 Quick, brief summary then. Brief summary, because we like your summaries.
um, okay, so the brief summary. I don't know whether Brother Geb is still on.
Yes,
Um,
it's with us still. Yes, it's still.
okay. So I'm going to start with the ancestral voices from the bits that I picked up,
Mm.
whereby it was Brother Amos,
Amos Wilson. Yes.
and they were discussing the continent and how it wasn't necessarily the continent. They were talking about it in relation to the Americas as well. So they were looking at it where they were,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at the options or opportunities or the possibilities of the Black state,
Mm-hmm.
the African state. They were looking at it in relation to from a education point of view, but also in terms of a state within a state and how can it be formulated. So they were asking a number of questions and discussing it amongst themselves
Mm-hmm.
and reasoning it through. So following the ancestral voices, we were just speaking in terms of opportunities and change. So you shared the experience you had in terms of going to the House of Commons
Comments. Mm.
and going there predominantly as a, I'm just going to come here and support my neighbour because he's putting a proposal forward, to being called to speak. But that almost triggered that thought process in terms of we need to be ready as a group, as a people, we need to be ready. Can't be just going through life to get along and moving along. So there's conversations we need to be having. There's the distractions we need to be mindful of. And AI could be seen as a distraction, but it can also be seen as an opportunity. And from an opportunity point of view, it could be that we can then converse more so with our brothers and sisters on the continent, or it can be seen as it won't take us to the continent in relation to a definitive way forward because of who has programmed and or built. So the person who built it is different from the people who are programming it because we are currently part of that program in terms of what we put in and what we don't put in. For me, I introduced a topic in terms of AI change and how it has changed over time, but also there's that thought process. There's things that we can do just to have a understanding of it because it can help and support us. It's not the answer. Recognizing then that we do have blueprints out there. If we think about moving forward, we can make use of those said blueprints. We can add to those blueprints, and where they are no longer valid or relevant, or changes need to be made, then we can have conversations amongst ourselves in terms of what the change looks like. We may invite the technology to help us to formulate some of those changes, recognizing once again, as Brother Geb pointed out, that it will only take us so far. What I would encourage us to do is that even though it will only take us halfway down the road, there's still a gap. So we need to mind that gap. And if that can take us, if we can use AI to cover that gap, and then as we grow individually, collectively, we come together through and making use of and not forgetting our heritage, our foundation, then we can move forward and we can continue to move forward. And the last thing then that you were thinking was the messages or the writings on the said walls. It'd be beautiful if they could be read. Will AI ever do that? I think that's going to be one of the things that I'd agree with.
They keep it to themselves until they can change the story.
Yeah, there'll be no way that will be allowed to happen. So we do need to be mindful of and stay connected with our African heritage and the practices that got our people to where they are now will also get us to where we want to go.
Well done, well done. Right. Any last words, my brother Gabe?
No, I've landed, my brother.
Okay.
Great.
Oh, has it gone? Oh, it's muted itself. Okay, thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Well, at the top of the hour, we shall be having our sister an hour, right? And I say thank you for joining us this strong, Sister Sandra. Okay, and we look forward to having you with us again in the near future. Okay, and your information again is info at Sandra Marva
Maven Smith's info at Sandra Maven Smith.
Is that your married name now?
That's my middle name. Always has been.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, Maven Smith. There you go. Sandra Maven Smith. Full interpretation there, so. Right.
.com, right? Info at sandramaysmith.com. Okay, so if you want to get some information on what is being offered there, and I would encourage you all to get on board. Okay, get on board. Anyway, until we meet again and let our paths cross again, have a great time and live a magnificent life.
Peace.
One of my favorites. This one, yes, sir, for a long time.
Somewhere there's a baby crying. Somewhere as his father's dying. Mommy ain't got no money for buying, for surviving, and little baby's dying. Somewhere there's someone who's lonely. Somewhere in the world profoundly. Sad to say, it's not the one and only. Oh, there are so many in the world of plenty. I've learned to love. I've learned to learn truly. Oh, my friend, soon will end. There must be something to do for them. Somewhere there's a father teaching. Somewhere there's a youth man preaching. Take heed, little ones, to the old man's preaching. No more cheating, forth and reaching. So many lives and so many tears. Grief-stricken mamas and papas. But we know what life is. We gotta make it. So let's join hands together and our hearts for each other. Let's go on together, wherever, forever. Oh, somewhere there's a baby crying. Somewhere while his father's dying. Mommy ain't got no money for buying, for surviving, and the baby's dying. Somewhere there's someone who's lonely. Somewhere in the world profoundly. Sad to say, is not the one and only. Oh, there are so many in the world of plenty. I've learned to love. I've learned to laugh. Learn the truth within the path. Although my friends soon be led, must be something we can do for them. To I love to do the things that's good.
Some would take money and make big enemy, while I might take love and make good friends. Some are sticking pocket, other are flicking rotchi.